Hello, welcome to Priory Paddock. We've reached the beginning of March now, and St David certainly would be delighted with the display of daffodils in the paddock. There's an excellent display. There's lots of daffodils already in flower, and there's lots more in bud. According to the Meteorological Office, 1st of March is the first day of spring. But to the ordinary countryman or the average gardener, I would think that the spring equinox in 3 weeks' time, or even April Fool's Day, would be a more realistic day to decide that spring had sprung, because the weather is still cold and relatively wet, and the soil is still cold and almost waterlogged at the moment. The most obvious sign in the paddock that we've reached the end of winter and the beginning of spring is that the annual maintenance schedule is in full swing. The pond has been raked and cleaned. Not the bottom, but the surface of the pond has been raked out to remove as far as possible the intrusive aquatic weeds that were infesting the open water, principally a thing called fool's watercress, which looks very similar to ordinary watercress, and the beds of marsh marigold and flag iris around the edges of the pond, which naturally encroach into the main area during the year. Those have been reduced and pulled back to increase the area of the open water as far as possible, without removing all the flowering plants round the edge. Apart from the daffodils, the signs of spring, there are some signs of spring, but they're more or less few and far between. The gunnera, the giant rhubarb, which was put to bed for the winter under a big heap of mulching leaves, has started to send up fresh shoots, and they had to be covered over with a fleece blanket towards the middle of February, when they'd pushed up very early, because winter's been fairly mild really, but then there was a threat of some frost in the end of February, so they had to be covered up with a fleece blanket to keep the frost off, and now they are beginning to push up underneath the fleece and make it look like rather like Bertram Mills' circus tent at the moment. The rooks are cawing. They are gathering and building in their nests in the trees in front of the priory, and you can probably hear them cawing overhead at the moment. And there was a thrush singing a little earlier, but I can't hear it at the minute. Apart from the daffodils, there are relatively few flowers in bloom at this time of year. The snowdrops are pretty much over. There are a few celandines starting to appear underneath the trees, and on the wall close to the gate, if you look closely, you might be able to find some at least buds of wild strawberry flowers. Right at the top of the garden, at the top of the woodland area, where the willows haven't been pollarded, the fresh shoots are coming out on the willow, and the buds of the pussy willow are just starting to swell, and if I look closely, I can find one or two where the buds themselves are just starting to split, and the first glimpse of the pussy willow can be seen inside. Other than that, there are lots of fresh leaves in the area underneath the trees where the spring flowers need to make hay while the leaves are not on the sun, keeping the sun out above them, so that they grow and flower and set seed before the leaf canopy cuts all the light out. So there are lots and lots of clumps of sword-shaped dark green bluebell leaves and groups of shield-shaped leaves, many of which have black specks on them, which are the leaves of the wild arum lily. And all amongst them there are lots and lots and lots of little heart-shaped leaves, dark green heart-shaped leaves with white specks on them, which are the leaves of the celandine. And as I said, quite a number of those are already in flower, and you can certainly find buds if you look for them. Other than that, I'm afraid there isn't a great deal as yet to be seen, but the year is definitely moving on. I found in the corner of the pond we have got the first clump of frog spawn. That hasn't been here very long, a few days, so we have got some frog spawn. But that is really all the signs of life here at the moment. But the year is definitely moving on. The weather is only hopefully going to improve now. So if you come back next month, I think we'll see a great change. Cheerio.